Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so I just want to start this video off with a kind of, I think, a quick thought, but I think an important thought. So, regardless of, let's say, the Bible, okay, so here's the interesting thing about the Bible. Regardless of whether you think it's true or not, or I don't know how to say this, because how can it not be true? And this is what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to say two truths are not true, or actually the first one could be or not be true. This is the part I'm saying I don't really care about this part. I mean, I do, but it's really the second part. So let's say the stories in the Bible aren't true. Okay, fine. I'm okay with that. But watch the second part. And no, I'm not saying that they're not true. That's not what I'm saying. Just listen to the second part. You'll get it. So the one thing about the Bible is it is just full of... I almost don't want to use the word wisdom, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's that spiritual stuff. No. It's smart. It's a smart book that teaches you how to get through life in a better way. For example, for those of us who have been through severe narcissist abuse, the Bible suddenly, like, okay, so when we went through it and went through it and went through it and went through it, and then there was like this final one where we just popped open and we're like, what the hell? All of a sudden, the book of Genesis made sense. All of a sudden, the serpent, the Garden of Eden, all of that started to make sense. You know, the serpent shamed Adam and Eve, said, oh, you're naked, because God says, who told you that you were naked? Well, you go back about 5 or 6 verses, the serpent's in the garden with Adam and Eve, and now they're putting fig leaves on because they were ashamed. That's in chapter 3, Genesis. So Genesis chapter 2, the last verse, 25, it said they were I'm drawing a blank, but essentially they were in the garden with God, and it said, and they were naked and were not, N-O-T, not ashamed. And you're like, wait, what? It's the same thing with a narcissist. Like, you just walk through life, you're happy, your heart was open, and that's naked, by the way. And that's normal, and that's very healthy, by the way. And happy. And some narcissist comes along and acts like they're this nice person and, you know, all this good stuff, and then they rip your heart and your soul out, and all of a sudden you close off from God, and you're in hiding from God because the narcissist shamed the living crap out of you. See, one of the things, there's a ton, but let me just give you this one, is they will start to humiliate you in front of either your friends or their friends. And I was recently reading something about this, and I thought, yeah, that is such a horrible thing to do. And that's what they're saying. Like, hey, if someone feels comfortable hurting you or embarrassing you in front of other people, whether it's your friends, their friends, or just at a restaurant around total strangers, that's a really fucked up person. Excuse my language, but that is a really messed up person. They feel so comfortable treating you like shit in front of other people. There's I forget what it said, but the point being is, like, that is just like, wow. Like, if someone does that, get away from them. And then the gaslighting just confuses the crap out of you. Well, now we're going to the Bible. It says confusion. Like, you know, like look at the how do they say it? Look at the fruits of who they are. You know, confusion, doubt, fear, shame, all this stuff. You're like, wow, that's exactly what narcissists do. Versus clarity, calm, peace, love, goodness. You know, just feeling good about yourself. And all of a sudden you go, whoa, there's a very distinct clear line of delineation of this is bad, this is good. It simplifies everything. And that's what happened to me. Was all of a sudden it's like, oh, anytime I talk to this person, I feel confused. I have, walk away feeling doubt. Like for the next day or two, I just like can't function well, or I just feel bad, or I feel bad about myself. That's one of the things I learned is if you interact with someone, have a conversation, hang out, and you walk away doubting yourself, or you feel confused, or you feel bad, or you feel shame, boom, that's all you need to know. Leave. You don't need to go back and figure it out. It doesn't matter. If your interaction with someone constantly leaves you feeling bad about yourself, especially if you feel confused and you start feeling doubt about anything, about yourself, about your abilities, about what you want to do, I am telling you, that person is messing with you. So here's my point or purpose of this video. Everything in the Bible, all of a sudden when you experience it, you're like, oh man, the Bible said that. Like, that's what it meant. And that's what happens when you wake up to narcissist abuse. Suddenly, if you've truly read the Bible to any extent, you start going, wow, it's right here. It's the seed of Cain. You know, God puts a mark on their forehead, and they go through life like this. So the mark is, everyone talks about narcissists, how they have this look in their eyes, like they're focused all the time. They're just focusing, like they're trying to figure you out. That's the mark. It's that narrow, focused, concentrated look. Now, I'm not going to go in depth in this video, but that's the mark. That's the look. Like, you can see it. There's just something off when it comes to their eyes. So here's all I'm saying. Even if the Bible isn't true, whoever wrote these stories and taught these teachings clearly understood not just about narcissist abuse, but about all kinds of situations in life, including, hey, be careful of eating this, because this could poison you and make you sick and could possibly make you die. I mean, it is just a book full of smart advice to help you get along and get through life better. I mean, that's like saying, oh, Tony Robbins' book isn't real. How is it not real? It's completely real. Same thing with the Bible. How is it not real? Fine, let's say these are all just stories and metaphors and examples to help our brain, our unconscious mind, learn something and understand something. Fine. But you cannot deny the wisdom and the truth that's in the Bible. Now, I think a lot of people that reject the Bible, I don't think they're rejecting the Bible. I think they're rejecting religion. I think religion came along. It was a group of control freaks and said, hey, let's take all these books and all these teachings and let's form a religion out of it, and let's control people and tell them what it means and tell them what to believe and everything. It was a controlling force of people saying, hey, we want to control you because it benefits us in one way or another, whether it's you work and dig the gold mines, you make me rich, and stuff like that. So I think those people are very pissed off. The unfortunate thing is they never really took the time to read the Bible before they just decided, screw this, because they were just like, this is controlling. I don't feel free. I don't feel happy. I don't like being around this attitude, this mentality of treating me like I'm nothing, like I'm not worthy. And they said, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this, which was probably a smart move. But I think if they would have read the Bible, they would have seen the difference between religion versus spirituality. So when it comes to religion or religious people, I would treat them almost, in a way, but not as bad, but almost like they're narcissists. And here's what I mean. They're at their level. That's where they're at. It's almost like you have to go to first grade or even kindergarten. You have to learn the alphabet first. That's one of the requirements before we can start teaching you math and science and all this stuff. You got to learn how to read. You got to understand the algebra. The alphabet. And until you get these basic building blocks, you can't move on to advanced stuff. So I think people that are really stuck in the religion thing, I think they're just going through this painful experience of being lied to and gaslighted and told stuff that's just absolutely not true. It doesn't take much to get an Old Testament dictionary, a New Testament dictionary, and look up a word, like what did that word mean in that time? Because a lot of times we get words that not only are they mistranslated, it's not even the same word. Like I said in the past, Ola does not mean shut the door. I mean, it's not even in the same district or the same county or the same state or the same country. This word has nothing to do with closing the door. So not only is it a mistranslation, it's a purposeful mistranslation. People tell you, like the fear of the Lord your God. Like, do you fear the Lord your God? I'm like, no, I love God. What? And they just drop their jaw. Because the word in the Bible doesn't say fear God. In the Bible it does say fear. It uses the word fear. And yet, if you go back to the original, I don't remember if it was the Greek translation or the Hebrew. I think it was Hebrew. The actual word means to admire, to look up to, revere, and to seek shelter under. None of that has anything to do with fear. Hola does not mean shut the door. It means hello. Yet for hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years, we constantly are being taught by these highly educated pastors and ministers that, oh, fear the Lord your God. I'm like, where does it say that? In fact, I think someone, the Bible says something like, do not fear. I think it's 365 times or 316 times or something like that. And it's kind of like, well, why would God tell us not to fear this and not to fear that? And yet he wants us to fear him. Like that didn't match up. And then I looked it up and like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Because that's not what God said. So that last piece kind of transfers us, or is kind of a good launching pad for what I'm going to say next. Now, this might be my own transformation, my own healing, but I don't think it is. I think there's a lot of people, not only on this channel, but on a lot of channels and people who are looking for like freedom. Essentially, I think there's a shift happening, and I really believe we've been going through it for 3-5 weeks, maybe more. It's like there's something that I think is very visceral that's happening. It's subtle, but it's not so subtle that you can't notice it. So here's the shift. I believe, at least for a segment of society of people, there is this release happening, this opening up, this comfort level of allowing yourself to just be yourself, to just be you. And to feel comfortable with it. Here's what I mean. There's a young lady, a new band. Her name is Kami Kehoe, Kamikehoe. And one of her songs is named Dopamine, and the other one's called Candy. And the emotions and the feelings you get from this and the way she performs. She's essentially a drummer and lead singer in her own band. She does have a band she goes on stage with, and they're really starting to go up in the charts. Like she's getting her first huge gig. She's the lead band, etc. And I guess what I'm saying is when I listen to her music, it's just like she's so free, she's so alive. So when I said the last piece, kind of like we're transferring from the first segment of this video to the second one, is as you begin to understand the Bible and the teachings of Jesus, it's all about one single thing: freedom, emotional freedom, being open to your heart, being open to your soul, enjoying life, living life with life, meaning the five senses: see, hear, feel, smell, and taste. To be passionate, to be emotional, to experience the fullness of life versus holding back and hiding. Freedom of emotions is really what it's about. Freedom to feel your emotions, freedom to experience emotions, to feel life, to feel happiness, joy, to cry, to love, to, etc. And I think the reason why it seems subtle is because it's a comforting energy. It's not some harsh, contrastive energy. It's this very kind of comforting, natural feeling, and therefore it seems subtle, but it's really not. So what's happening right now is people are beginning to express themselves. It's like emotional expression. They're feeling more free to do this now. Because in the past, everything was about control. Everything was about do as you're told, conform. And I still hear Christian people say that. It's like, man, like this lady online on Facebook, she's a huge Christian. I'm like, are you even listening to what you're saying to people? You act like you're Adolf, essentially. Do as you're told. And it's like that is not what this is all about. It's not about conforming to some group think. It's about allowing, opening up, letting go, and allowing other people to be themselves, to be in their own space. By putting pressure on people to conform, that's where all the violence comes from. That's where all the anger comes from. That's where all the toxicity, the disease of life comes from. allow people to be in their own space. That also means that they need to allow you to be in your space. I'm not saying like someone needs to come over and steal from your house and break in. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying if humans were to allow each other to be themselves and be in their own space, you would find a lot, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to say this improperly. A lot more healthy exchanges and a lot more healthy, much better. God, sorry, my English is way off today. But a much better way of expressing themselves in a healthier way that feels comfortable for everyone, or at least a lot more people. Because a lot of times when people are trying to express themselves, it's being done under duress. It's being done under pressure and this mind control that's been going on since they were kids. And this emotion and feeling, this expression's been trying to get out. Even if it's not like they're trying to be a singer or a dancer or anything at all, not even a social media person, but they're just like, hey, I'm just trying to walk down the street and just be myself and be comfortable in my own skin. And that's exactly what I'm saying. If people were allowed to just be comfortable with themselves, to just be themselves, it would feel more comfortable to be around them, more comfortable to allow them to be themselves versus putting this pressure on them, because then it comes out in a tight, controlled, over the top, kind of way, too loud or too intense or, too whatever. And so, do you get what I'm trying to say? If we would just allow people to have their own space, to be their own being, to be their own person, they would feel a lot more comfortable and things would just come out a lot more naturally. So that singer Cami Kehoe, what I noticed is she has a really, really heavy lisp. And what I noticed was when I first heard her on Facebook, I was like, wow, like my heart and my soul, I'm just like, I'm not, please forgive me, I do not have a better way to express this, but my body is just feeling the vibrations, the energy. It's just like my entire body is feeling it. And I'm like, man, this is just amazing. And then I kind of started listening, like, she has a real heavy lisp, and I'm like, man, and yet here's the thing. You ever heard people say, just own it? Like, this is who you are, just own it and make it yours and make it your own style. And she did. She completely owns it. She doesn't try to reject her own lisp. And because she did that, it's like instead of trying to push it down or control it or lock it up, she's allowed it to completely come out. And it comes out in such a powerful, comfortable, natural, resonant way that allows your entire body to just like, man, this is amazing music. In fact, you don't even notice it until I think I was watching a short after I'd heard like 5 or 6 or 7 songs. Like, wow, she's got a really heavy lisp. And then I went back to the other songs, like, wow, it's there, it's pronounced, yet it's you almost don't notice it because she doesn't care. And the thing is, it is so embraced in who she is. It's like you just walking without even thinking about it. It creates her own style. It creates, and it's not like that, but the energy and the emotion from it. Man, I'm not finding the right way. You just feel it. So she's embraced it, and because of that, it's caused such a positive thing. And I think this is what's happening with people, is they're just like, well, this is just who I am, and I'm okay with it. And I think the interesting thing about this is the people who are really into conformity, they're the ones now that are starting to feel uncomfortable because they're like, well, how do I act? Because there's not this 90% rule of this is the way you should be as a human, fit in the box. Now people are saying, I'm done fitting in the box. I'm done trying to be someone I'm not. I'm done trying to be something that I'm not. I'm done acting. I'm done playing by these rules and these beliefs that I don't agree with. So as another reference, there's a band called Skillet. And I didn't even know they were a Christian band until this week. I've been listening to them for years. I had no idea. Didn't make the connection. And there's this big controversy because they came out with this new album, these new songs, and you see these people going, this isn't Christian rock or Christian music, and I'm like, why are they saying this? And one of the band members came out and said, hey, we didn't say that we only make Christian music, or we only do this, or we only make music for Christians. Like, we want to reach everybody. And that's the thing, is that's that limitation. Like, You know, this is my religious mind. I'm in the left brain. Rule, structure, organization, religion, fit in the box, conform, do as you're told. You know, if you go back when Christian bands started to come out as rock bands playing with electric guitars and heavier music, what you noticed was even though they would literally sing verses from the Bible verbatim, and even have like Bible verses on the cover of the album and stuff, these bands would go out of business because, well, yeah, we're in this box and we're not allowed to get out of this box because otherwise we're not going to be considered a Christian band. And what would happen is they would die and you would never hear from them again. They would go bankrupt. They would lose money because they're in this tight little box. And again, I think what's happening right now is, and again, this doesn't, by the way, this has nothing to do with Christianity. Because that Cam Kehoe has nothing to do with nothing. I don't think she does. If she does, I'd be surprised. But the point being is, it's like I think people in general, across the board, forget religion altogether. That this point was not about Christianity. I think people are allowing themselves and saying, you know what, I'm just going to go live my life. I'm going to do it my way. And I think that's the whole purpose of life. I think that's the purpose of what Jesus came, is to say, hey, you're free. You have free will. You know, live your life. Be happy. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the shame. Just go out there and enjoy yourselves and be happy. Now I can hear the Christians, oh, you got to follow the rules. You can't be happy. Well, that's a sin. No, it's not. Sorry if that was a little abrupt. So there's another band called Breaking Benjamin that's came back around with some new music, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm really feeling this music. So what I'm trying to say with all of this is I think there is a real subtle, but it's really not that subtle. It's kind of obvious, but because it's comfortable, it seems almost like it's not going to come up on your radar, and yet you're really feeling this level of comfort and flow and smoothness and resonance and life, like you're really starting to feel life. That's what this video is about, and I think the energy that is coming in is it's allowing us to kind of let down our guard, let down our shield, and open up emotionally and open up physically to feel and experience life, because that's why you're here. That's why God made this third dimension. So I hope you guys are beginning to notice this warmth and comfort, that it's more like just allowing yourself to let your guard down and just be yourself. Believe it or not, but this is the whole fear of narcissists and the people that are in power that are controlling us. If the masses begin to just feel comfortable being themselves, well, they can't control us. They can't make us conform to a set of rules and laws and regulations that keep us down. If enough people just start being themselves, those people lose all their power. Kind of cool, huh? Alright, that's it. God bless you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And as always, if you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal donation link right there in the description box, or you can buy one or more of my dating and relationship coaching books. Alright, God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.